Brian Rast took down the $50,000 Players' Championship for his second bracelet in this edition of Battle for the Bracelets. Congratulations, Brian, your second bracelet and in the Players' Championship. You must be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel like I played well. I don't really have any big regrets about how I played, and I got lucky and took it down. So yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that accomplishment.
How does it feel in comparison to your first bracelet? Because it is kind of more a prestigious event, but still, bracelet's a bracelet.
It means a lot more. I mean, the first bracelet was a $1,500 event, pot limit hold'em. There were good players in the event, but the competition definitely wasn't as fierce, and the notoriety isn't as much. Like, people weren't able to watch the final table. Everything about it, the atmosphere, everything is different. So this bracelet definitely meant more, even though maybe it wasn't my first. So
now, Phil had a 6-1 chip lead on you, heads up.
Yeah.
How did you come back from that?
Well, I mean, basically, we got it all in 3 times, and I had the best of it, but the first time not by much, and faded it. And even though I had the best of it 3 times, I did the math, and it's basically like even though as a favorite 3 times, I'm still about 20% to have won all 3. So the truth is that I got lucky. I mean, luck is a funny thing, and you can use it a lot of ways. Like, one thing is, you could say, like, maybe he got lucky to have gone on a good run and whittled me down, because I don't think I was making like big folds or folding the best hand very often at all. And I mean, even one time I played a hand really well against him, and he got there on the river, and I lost $2.5 million in that pot. But so there's luck involved in that too. But yeah, I mean, after being down 6-1, I got lucky to win, for sure. I mean, I had to win it all in 3 times. As a favorite or not, you're probably not going to do that.
The whole thing must have felt pretty massive, considering it was his 3rd time to be in that situation. Did you get a sense of that feeling in the air?
I definitely did. I mean, I definitely noticed that throughout the final table, Phil was getting, a very warm response from the crowd. Like, on the first hand, where I had started to build up a chip lead, and then I doubled him up when he had the set versus my pair and flush draw, the crowd really cheered, and I definitely got a sense that people, maybe despite, I think maybe a year or 2 ago, there was a big contingent in the poker community that maybe didn't like Phil and maybe would cheer against him. It definitely wasn't like this at this final table. I mean, I had my cheering section that was really strong, but it was smaller, and I think the majority of people, especially people who maybe weren't specifically like family or friends or in a cheering section, I think they were pulling for Phil more than anyone else. And I mean, it's cool. Like, I can definitely understand why. I mean, Phil's been around, he's been on TV for years. People feel like they kind of know him. They've watched him play poker, and maybe they're pulling for him, whereas I've basically never been on a TV final table. I've never really played a TV cash game. I'm kind of a new player for most of the poker community, other than like high stakes pros who have like seen me in Bobby's room for years. But so they're not going to really, they might not feel any connection towards me at the time, other than just something that they feel just in that moment while I'm at the table. So it was it didn't really affect me, but I felt like I understood it.
A lot of the other finalists as well, they felt when they were knocked out, you could read on Twitter and that they felt that the best 2 players got heads up. So you obviously had a lot of respect.
Well, yeah, it's definitely cool to hear that. I mean, as I always enjoy having respect for my peers in this. I've taken poker like pretty seriously. It's really the only skill I've really developed in my life fully. So it definitely matters to me when other smart, good poker players say, hey, I think that guy plays pretty well. Then I feel maybe a little validated that, hey, maybe I'm actually pretty good at what I do, because, I think that it's important to be confident. It's important to have your own evaluations, but like everything in life, sometimes it can be hard to evaluate yourself just because your own ego is caught up in it. So hearing from someone else that you're like, hey, like, I think this guy plays well, he's a smart guy, and if you kind of hear feedback that they think that you play well too, it kind of maybe reinforces some of the confidence that you try to feel in those situations where you're, you know, playing at a final table and trying to say, hey, I think I can win and play better than the other people. So I don't know.
I'm sure the 2 bracelets will help too now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it'd be nice to take credit for it, but I still kind of think winning a tournament's mostly luck. Okay. So, like, I mean, I'm glad I got lucky, you know, but it's hard to take too much credit for the cards running my way over a couple days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's next for you now?
Going to Brazil and getting my fiance here, and then, you know, after she comes, I think I've talked to her a little bit, maybe going to the World Series of Poker Europe and trying to win Player of the Year. Even though I'm missing out on the main event, there's still 5 tournaments there that I can maybe play, so I think I might do that. But otherwise, I'll just probably stay in Vegas, play random cash games whenever they come up, and yeah, hang out with my girl.
Okay, well, I'm sure your cheering section will be even bigger the next time in Europe, so
Yeah.
best of luck there.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again to Brian Rast, your 2011 50k 8-game Poker Players champion.